Hello and welcome everybody to the Rebuilt podcast. I'm incredibly excited about the guests that I have got coming on today, and we are going to discuss women in transition. And so let me introduce you to my guests. I'm going to bring them all up. We have Deborah Candler. Hi, Deborah. And we have Vicky, and
Hello,
we
everyone.
have Bernice.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. And so, guys, this is the team that's going to be coming to you at the She Rises retreat in a couple of weeks' time. But hello, ladies. Are we all good?
Hi,
Yes,
we're great. This
good,
is fun.
thanks. Good to go.
So we're going to discuss women in transition, and we're just going to be a super cash conversation, and we're just going to have a little chat. So the first thing is what does transition mean for you guys? So for me, when I think about transition, I think it's about a woman I am becoming. It's about me going from one place and I'm transitioning to something new. It's about who I want to become. So who shall I go to first? I'll go to you, Deborah. So talk to me. Tell me what you think transition is for you.
Look, I think we're always in transition. I don't think there's ever a time when we're not. Like we go from, dating and pre-marriage and marriage and then having kids and raising kids and, empty nesters and perimenopause and menopause. And we're always in transition, right? We're always transitioning. We're reinventing ourselves constantly as women. And so it seems like there's all these normal, what I call normal kinds of transitions that happen because they happen. They're seasons, they're things we all go through, they're universal things as women. But then there's these out of the box transitions, and I think they're the tricky ones. So they're the suddenlies in life. And I think they're the really tricky ones because they're often the ones that come out of nowhere. You didn't see them coming. And now you find yourself in this place where there's no name for it. I think that's the difficult thing. There's a name for the start of something. We love telling the stories about where we're going and what we want to do. And there's a name for the end of something. We finish something, you look back on it and say, oh, look what I've learned, whatever. But when you're in the middle, this transition bit, I think that's really, really tricky because there's no name for that. There's no narrative for the middle place. And I think that's really scary because it's uncertain. I think it often has this this sense of I don't know what this is, and so we can either get really stuck in this place, or we can let it give us a negative narrative because we don't know where it's going. We don't know what to do with it. We don't know what the narrative is, and that becomes really difficult for us. We're tempted to tell a really negative story in that place because it's just so uncertain. And the other difficult thing is we're doing those suddenly transitions when all the other normal transitions are still happening. So they don't just stop because something else has happened. We now have to juggle these out of the box kind of things that happen to us, as well as navigate the normal transitions that everyone goes through. So I think we're always in it. And I love the women's space because we help each other through these places really, really well, particularly when the suddenlies happen.
Yeah, no, that's really good, Deborah. I totally agree. What about you, Debbie? What's your thoughts on what does transition mean to you?
For me, we are always WIP, work in progress. When we work in progress, that is always a transition. What Deborah said is so true. It's just like the caterpillar, when they transit into a butterfly. But when transition, a lot of people, there's a lot of fear involved, because there's a lot of unknown. You don't know what's going to happen and that kind of thing. And I learned something in the sense that during transition, when something hit to you on unknown, that is how we practice our faith in action. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what is next. And that is how we really need to depend on our God, and trust him. Whatever things that we do, we trust him in the sense that we plan, we trust, we pray about it, and we move along with it. I love to use the reason when I climbed the mountain, Kinabalu, 4,000 meters. It was dark. I started at 2 o'clock in the morning. I can't see a lot of things, when you can't see something and you are on transition to your next step, there's a lot of fear. You can't see, but also it's a paradox in the sense that you can't see, and that is how you don't feel afraid. You can step beyond that because you can't see. By the time when I finish climbing in a mountain and when sunrise, and I start to realize I can do the things better if I can't see. When I can't see, because when you can't see, there's no fear.
That's
So
right.
there's two sides.
Yeah.
I would say there's a paradox. When you can't see, you might a lot unknown. Okay, you get worried. But when you can't see, there's no fear because you don't know what's dangerous, what is in front of you.
That's right. You're just walking in blind faith. No, that's awesome.
Exactly
That's
right.
really
I always say you only know what is faith until you are tested.
That's right. That's right. That's so good. That's so good. Bernice, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think transition is that slightly awkward space between what was and what's next. And I think as women, we go through so many of them: motherhood, careers, relationship, body changing, hormones, kids, our roles changing, and sometimes all at once. So the funny thing is, I have often thought of it as being something has gone wrong, because what used to work is no longer working. But I'm learning that transition isn't necessarily about losing who you are. It's actually about becoming more of who you're meant to be. And I love what Deb had said about the caterpillar. I've been looking a little bit more into the caterpillar, and obviously we know that it morphs into this beautiful butterfly. But what I have recently discovered is when it's inside the cocoon, it literally liquefies and turns into this mush. And I feel like that really describes this transition season where it's a lot of mush of you just figuring out. But the crazy thing is that within that mush, there's actually these imaginal cells that carry the blueprint for what you're actually becoming. For example, obviously the caterpillar becoming that butterfly. And I think as I've gone more into that of knowing that in the mush, there's these imaginal cells of who we're becoming. And that feels really a lot more exciting because I'm not quite who I was, but I'm not completely sure of who I'm becoming. So it's that messy middle that's in between. And I think sometimes there can be a bit of fear associated with it. But as we transition with our thoughts and our ways, it can actually become quite exciting to discover that more of who we're becoming.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's so true. That's so true. There is always in transition, there's always a season of messiness, right? And we just got to keep moving right the way through the mess. All right. So question for you ladies. So are any of you currently in transition? So I'll go first. So I have had to accept the fact that the old version of me no longer fits where I'm at right now. So as you know, I'm recently married. So I've recently gone from the single ladies to now I'm married. And so that version of me that was the single lady, I was single for 7 years. There's some characteristics and behaviors that I can't bring into this, new transition, this new place of this wife that I am now. I've got to consider my husband. I got to consider, I don't make decisions on my own now. So there's that. Me personally, that has been quite a learning curve of going from single-mindedness, just doing whatever I want when I want. Now all of a sudden I'm this, wife that has a husband to consider in all that I do. So that has been quite an interesting journey. So that's just one example. What about you girls? Are you currently in transition at all? And if so, share with us, what's happening.
Oh,
Who's going first?
Definitely. Absolutely. 100% in every part of my life. I think professionally, I'm going through a little bit of a transition after, working for 20 years as a physio and, knowing movement, knowing the body. And now things just look different. My body's different. What I used to do is not working. So just trying to figure out what this newness is all about. It's just, my thinking is changing. My kids are getting older, moving home. Home looks different. Trying to figure out my role in that space. Oh my goodness, yeah. Just trying to, manage relationships. There's so many moments of transition or periods in my life at the moment that I feel like there's just so much change. And I'm trying to figure out how I stay strong in it, how I keep moving through it, what I'm needing to build, what I'm needing to discover. But yeah, I feel like I'm in it in so many different parts of my life.
Yeah. And sometimes we do have that, it's just we're dealing with one transition. It could be transitioning, I know Bernice and I are in a very similar stage with our kids. They're all starting to leave us. So we're transitioning from being a mum. I'm a mum of 4, you're a mum of 5. And they're leaving the house, then they're back. They're leaving, they're back. Whereas perhaps Deborah and you guys, Debbie, your kids are the same age as mine. You're probably similar to us too. But Deborah, where are your kids? Are they married?
All gone with their families, and I'm losing audio in and out. So if I appear really dumb, or I'm just kind of looking like I'm vacant, it's because the audio is dropping in and out. But I'm going to do my best to lip read if I can't hear you. But yeah, this whole thing about always being in transition. So right now, it's really an interesting point in my life because my mum is 88. I feel like I'm in this stuck generation where I've got my mum who's upline, but she's really like a child now. She's 88 and she's depending on my sister and myself and my brother a lot. She has needs and we're trying our best to, look out for her. But then I have grown kids and I love them to pieces and want to see them. And they have kids. So there's grandkids and we've got these downlines as well. And then I've got my horizontal friends and my work that I do that I love. My mum was retired 15 years ago. If I was my mum, I would be retired for 15 years. And here I am still working and loving my work and loving my life. And I'm stuck between these generations of people. And it's like, oh my gosh, who am I in this? And do I ever get to live just for me? Or is that just selfish to say that? I don't know. But I do, like I love my mum and I love my kids and I love my grandkids to pieces. But there's like, gosh, Phil and I go, when do we just get to do us? And it's not a terrible thing. It's just it's an interesting place. And I feel like we have to constantly navigate it and there's no right or wrong around it. I think we just have to try and work it out. And I haven't been here before. I don't know what's right or wrong, but I'm just trying my very best to work out how I do this upline with my mom and then all these downline layers with kids and grandkids. And then how do I fit friends in and how do I do us? It's interesting. But it's kind of like we have to reinvent ourselves constantly and ask what's required of me or what do I have for this season or what do I need for this season that I haven't needed in the seasons before. It's constant. I just think we're always in this transition period. And again, I'm just going to say it again, but that's why we need each other because I don't know, I'm a better woman. I'm a better wife when I have good friends. I'm a better mum when I have good friends. I'm a better person when I have good friends around that we can have these honest conversations with and just have a laugh and sometimes a cry, but just talk about it because it's life and everyone's doing it. I'm not the only one doing this. It's a generation of people where the elderly are still here and my mum's parents had already passed on at her age. She never had to do this, so I can't ask her. It's just here I am doing this interesting life with all these generations around me. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Deborah. And it is. I'm not quite there yet with my mum. My mum is as young and as fit as a fiddle. She's not going anywhere. So I haven't even contemplated that. We're still traveling together, but there will be a point where it's like, oh, okay, I will have aging parents soon. And what does that mean that I can, just live wherever I want? Or do I go and live back close? I mean, I'm not there yet, but I know I am moving towards that.
Yes.
So it's really, I think one thing from this conversation is that moving and transitioning is inevitable. We are always moving. It's whether we can overcome the hurdles and come into like full acceptance. It's like, okay, this is what my life looks like. but I'm not staying here. I am moving through it. And so knowing that everything, you know, what Debbie was saying, the faith, everything will be okay. You know, as long as I've got faith, you know, I've got my belief in God who will look after me, I will be fine. So Debbie, what's your thoughts? Are you transitioning through it at the moment?
Yeah, I am. Just continue what you said, John, faith, you know, but sometimes faith give you pain. You know, you have faith, you can't see anything, you can't feel anything, you have pain. When you have pain, you let go and you decided not to go ahead with that. So again, that is, we got to see how strong are we able to hold on it, holding on the pain, you know, how strong, how deep is our pockets. We are able to hold into all this. For me, transitions, am I yes and no things, you know, sometimes I want to do something and end of the day, you really look into it, you pray about it. I feel like you want to do it. Do you need to do it? We might not need to do something, you know, because we feel like it. That's the things, you know. So many times when I do, especially investment, that kind of thing, oh, this sounds good, this looks good, and all. End of the day is never too good, you know. And I remember a couple of years ago, I used to do a lot of things, invest businesses, that kind of thing, and handling big project, that kind of stuff, so good. But end of the day, 2 years ago, God told me I'm so good and forgot about him. And that's the time that he asked me to slow down. And this is how my transition is no longer getting big things. You know, God said, one at a time, go deep, don't go wide, just go deep. You know, so that's my transition in the sense that I never look into big stuff at this moment. I look into something that more quality. You know, I travel. My mom is not here. My mom is in Malaysia, so I need to travel back quite regular to go to see her. And recently, I have some project going on in Philippines. So my next transition, I'm not sure. Pray about it, whether I need to be here, I need to be in Malaysia, or I need to be in Philippines. You know, but regardless, is it embrace it. You know, whichever, whatever we do, we embrace it. That's how exactly what I feel. Yeah. Yes, Dawn. What do you think?
That's really cool. That's really good. So Debbie, what do you think has been? So if you look at your life now and you look back, what do you think has been one of your biggest hurdles to overcome with regards to transitioning? So you know, share with us what your biggest hurdle has been.
For me, is don't compare what you was and what it is now. You know, sometimes I compare too much. Oh, I don't like this, I was like that, I was like that, I used to be like this, I used to be like this, used to be like that on that season. And I'm using the season right now to compare, you know, and that makes us feel so sad, you know. So end of the day is whatever season it is, don't compare, you know, always reset. Every season is a resetting time. That's how I feel. Reset it and start again. Reset it and start all over again. You got nothing to compare. Obviously, we are moving forward. We need something that moving forward. And I always think that it's very important we have an anchor. You know, sometimes when we transition, we got MIA. You know, we don't know where to go. It's like GPS. We driving a car, we key in the GPS address and we got lost. And the GPS said recalculations. And we need to recalculate and go back again and go to the another road. You know, so that's how I feel that don't compare. During the transition time, you feel fearful, you feel challenged, you feel sad. And because you compare what you have and what you don't have at this stage, you know. So whatever is that, every transition is to reset. Every transition is the time for us to learn.
Yeah,
that's how
definitely.
I feel.
That's really good. It is. Every transition is a time to learn. So what about you, Deborah? What's been your biggest hurdle in your life whilst transitioning?
Without getting into circumstances, but about how it impacted me, I would say allowing the past to invade the present. It becomes a huge hurdle. You allow the past to invade the present. So you kind of rely on what happened in the past, or how you responded in the past, or how you felt in the past, what happened in the past. And you almost expect the past to repeat itself. And if you expect the past to repeat itself, it often will, because that's how we've set our mind and that's how we've seen ourselves. And I think that's been my biggest hurdle, to get to give myself a bit of a reset. So I like what Deb said just before, how we use this transition to reset. I think you said reset, Deb. I think I look at it like it's like a pit stop. You know, transition can be like a bit of a pit stop, where it's kind of, we slow down a bit to refuel and re-energize for the next lap. You know, it's like, so for me, not allowing the past, and sometimes it's voices or things you've told yourself, you know, you can't do that, or you're too old for that, or that's never going to happen now, you know, you didn't get that chance then, so, you know, just forget about it. And so not allowing the past to invade the present. So I think to get over that hurdle, I've filled my transitional times, particularly the aging times where the children are leaving, you're getting older, you know, you've got some wisdom, but you're moving from the positions that you had. So mine was lecturing for years and years and years, and moving out of that into other spaces meant I just went back and restudied. I just went back and got another degree. Yeah, I just went back and got another grad cert, you know, and it just moved me into spaces where, oh, I can do this now. Oh, I quite love that. Oh, I never knew I could do that. Oh my gosh, this is actually quite fun. And you get a second breath, you know, you get a second wind. And it's like the transition enabled me to refuel and upskill and, you know, push that invasion of the past out and fill it with different questions. Because when you're in this stuck place of allowing the past in the present, you fill your mind with backward questions like, oh, you know, why didn't I do that then? Or, you know, why did this happen to me? Or we fill it with all these backwards questions. But we can also fill the space with forward facing questions like, okay, now that this has happened, what can I do? Which is such a different way of seeing it. It's like, okay, this has happened. What opportunities do I have now? It's you know, you're in the same space, you're just asking different questions. So you're seeing your life in a completely different way, which then, you know, refueled me and re-energized me to say, look, maybe I could do this. And gosh, look, I could, and I did, and loved it, and then embraced all these other new things and met new people, and, you know, got my second wind. And I often think that transition needs to happen because process has to happen, you know. Like I even think, you know, pain redeemed is better than pain removed. It's like when pain's redeemed, something's refined in you. You've got a story, something rich has taken place. And it's almost like if you try and hurry that, or you don't do what the pit stop allows you to do and take up the opportunities, I really think you don't want to walk away from something that's going to be your great story a little ways down the track. You don't want to walk away from that. You don't want to miss that opportunity, you know. So I think it's just a great opportunity to ask different questions and do something new, that because we're creative, we're resilient, you know, we're clever, we're women, you know, we can do stuff. So I think we just got to remind ourselves of this sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, well, like you just said, you have that little intrusive voice that's telling you, no, you can't do it. You're not educated. You haven't. You can't do that job. You can't get that career. You can't get that, you know, business or whatever. That little voice sits there, and it's like taking control of that voice and say, no, shush. I can't, like, shush the voice and say, no, I can do this. I can have a go. So no, that's brilliant. Yeah, thank you for that, Deborah. What about you, Bernice? What's been your biggest hurdle in that? I mean, you shared a little bit about, you know, your what's happened to your body. Is there anything else that you think has been a big hurdle that you could share with us?
I think the biggest hurdle has probably been letting go of what I thought I knew in so many parts of who I am and what I do. But I think a little bit like what Deb said, I think, you know, instead of getting down on myself and bailing out, I generally go harder. I research more. I consider different things. You know, I'll try things. And I suppose just getting to that point of letting it go, knowing that there's potentially something new, maybe something different that I have to consider. That's probably been the biggest hurdle, because we all like certainty. and we like to know what's happening, how it's happening, and how it works. And sometimes that means stopping and considering a different way, asking different questions. And so I think for me, that's been a hurdle in a way, because I've really had to rethink everything that I've ever done in a new and foreign way, which again, it kind of excites me, but it's almost, it's like starting again. And so, I think I'm trying to gather that evidence of what I need to do, what I'm potentially going to do. And so, just relearning, rethinking.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. I like that. It is rethinking. And I suppose it just reminds me of when I went to university, everything in me screamed, don't do it. Like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? But there was this Shema, was the invisible pulling from God to say, you can do this, you've got this, you can do this. And so it's just shutting down those the voices that say no and just following through, even when you're scared, even when the fear it looks like there's a giant in front of you. It's like, no, just go through it and just keep going, because there is an abundance of blessing in the end. And I don't know about you ladies, but anything worth having is always a challenge. There's always a challenge with it, and it's a bit like what you were saying, Debbie, climbing that mountain. All you did was one step at a time, one step. And I think that is transition for it, whatever it looks like, whether it's health, whether it's your mind, whether it's your life, relationships, business. I think there's wisdom in going, we just take one step at a time, one step at a time. Brilliant. Have you got, or I know you would have you've shared a ton of wisdom. Have you got one tip or one insight that you could leave our watchers with, who are listening to this today? Who's going first? Debbie.
I love one step at a time.
That's it.
You don't worry about what is it. God say in our prayer, give us today our daily bread.
Yeah.
Not yearly bread. So one step at a time. Yeah.
That's awesome.
What about
And no, that's so good, and that's gold. If if we said nothing else today, just taking one step at a time is that's it. That's what we have to do. What about you, Deborah? What I know you're a very wise woman. I'm sure you got something awesome to leave us with.
Yeah, I would say live like it's always plan A. Just ditch plan B. Plan B doesn't exist. Just live like it's always plan A. It was always going to be plan A. This transition, whatever you're in, if it doesn't have a narrative, if it doesn't have a name, if it looks uncertain, go with the process. Be creative, be resilient, remind yourself of who you are, ask forward questions, and then one day this is going to become part of the story that you're going to be grateful you didn't walk away from.
Oh, brilliant. I love that. That's really cool. That's really cool. Bernice.
My one word, I would probably say stay, or a few words, because I can't just say one.
Okay, you can have as many as you like.
I would say stay curious. I think that's what I'm having to remain curious. Don't be scared. So much is different, but I suppose embrace what it potentially could look like, and you're just going to be building capacity. And that's what I'm so into at the moment is just believing for the impossible, which is going to look so different to where you've been, and so exciting because it's so new and foreign. So I think just stay curious.
I love that. And I think all four of us are very curious women, because I just know you all, and I know that you're constantly new. We like new. We like learning and growing. So I think if I was to leave anything with our listeners and our watchers, I would be, don't wait until you're ready. You will never be ready. Don't wait until you're ready. Just go. Whatever it is, just put your hand to that plow and just keep moving. Don't wait until you're more educated. Don't wait until you're fitter. Don't wait until you've got extra money. Just if it's in your heart and you've got that pull to do it, just go do it. And you'll find is that you will learn as you go, one step at a time, staying curious, and just, it will happen. So I've loved your insights. I've loved what you've all shared today. It's so exciting to have you all here, but all of us are going to be at the She Rises retreat, which happens in under 2 weeks. So I would just love it if you could just quickly give our listeners or those who are watching just a little snippet of what they will experience if they come and join us. It's not too late, is it, Debbie? They can still, the doors are still open. Even though we've got 2 weeks, we're nearly there. The doors will be closing soon. So Bernice, just share with us a little tiny snippet of what you'll be sharing at the retreat.
I'm sharing the amazing body, and but in a fun way. I think we're going to just discover what our body is capable of. And as I said, having done things a certain way, I'm just ready and excited to experience a new way, possibly discover some exercises in parts of your body that you didn't even know were possible. And we're just going to have lots of fun moving, discovering, feeling, and having a plan and a strategy of how you can potentially implement some of these things in your life going forward.
Yeah. So if those of you who don't know, Bernice is actually a physiotherapist and she's a life coach, and she has an amazing testimony about the things she's experienced and how this transition for her is really important season. So guys, you need to come just to hear. I'm a bit nervous to say what Bernice might be. We might be exercising. I'm going to zip it. Just you've got to come because I think it's going to be good fun. If you want a good laugh, do not miss Bernice's session. Okay, Deborah, I know that you are a woman of wisdom. You carry incredible knowledge of the spirit realm. So share with us a little snippet of what you'll be giving us.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about forgiveness and how it matters. It matters that we understand it, and it matters that we embody it as something that we live. It's not a one-off act. It's not an occasion. It's a lifestyle. And I'm going to be talking about how it rewards us with greater emotional health and stability, that it releases us from the grip of circumstances and releases us into the grip of grace. And how this can radically change how we see ourselves, how we see the world, how we see others, and even how we see God, whether we're people of faith or not. It changes how we see all of those things. And we're going to touch on, hopefully, in the short time we've got together, we're going to touch on what it means to forgive others, what it means to forgive ourselves, and what it means to forgive God. Which seems a really interesting point, but we'll get to that. But we're going to cover those three things and how that really changes us, particularly women who have experienced some heavy things that cause us to be in these transitional times. So we're going to be covering that, and hopefully we'll then go into a time where it will dovetail into what you're doing, Dawn, with releasing, and how do we release those things then to be able to then move forward. Yeah.
So I'll be looking at what keeps us stuck, what keeps us bound, and then what it is that we need to release in order to move forward. So I'll be covering all of that, which is mine and Deb's sessions are very close together, and it will be a breakthrough moment, I have no doubt. And then Debbie's going to bring us home with talking about life. So Deb, just give us a little snippet about what you will be sharing.
Sure. Is how do they learn? What do they learn in the daytime, and how do they apply it? So for me, it's very much into self-assessment, and you use that and realize a lot of things that people might not realize. They think they're like that, but actually they are not until they have been assessed, their self-assessment. And how do they fast track? If they think that they want to be like this, they want to be like that, and they miss out something, they want to do it, but how can they fast track it? So I'm using a method to help them to fast track the thing that they have been missed out, I don't know, many years ago, or the things that they're going to do it, but they have no confidence of doing it. That's one part. The part one. The part two is once they apply it, a lot of things have been broken. Don't we talk about, I think our last workshop, we talked about how a lot of brokenness. And I would like to touch a little bit on how do we repair this brokenhearted. That is how the kintsugi came into. I'm not sure whether we are doing kintsugi, but if we are doing kintsugi, it's something that I would like to touch in the sense that how to they build back. I mean, how do they repair the brokenness? But don't expect once you repair, become an original cell. It's no longer an original cell. In fact, it's a stronger cell. Once you repair it, and that is how when you repair it, that you become a treasure. So that part is when they apply, you fast track, and if you need to repair whatever repair and build that, become stronger.
Yeah, I love kintsugi. I love. Is that how I said it? Kintsugi. Is that how I said it right?
Kintsugi. It's a Japanese word. I'm not sure exactly, but that's how. Just for forever, they might not know why we talk about kintsugi. Dawn, you and I, we are having the same topic. Remember the last retreat? I'm doing kintsugi, and when we compare our notes, Dawn is also doing kintsugi.
So we hadn't discussed what each of us were doing, but there was this beautiful synergy of messaging that came out of the last retreat we did, and I have full faith with the four of us. It's just gonna have this beautiful flow from one to the other. We're going to take our ladies on this incredible journey of healing and freedom and release, and then propelling and activating, taking everybody into their next chapter of their life. So I'm so thankful that you girls have joined me today. I thank you for everybody who's listening, who's joined us. Some people have joined us live. We've got people on live. Hello, everybody. Thank you for listening in. If you're watching, share this out, invite your friends. We still have spots for the She Rises retreat, which will happen in 2 weeks. Girls, have you got anything else you'd like to add before we say goodbye? You're all good?
All good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And looking forward.
I know. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be so good. I know the word breakthrough is, I know some of the ladies that are coming, they are coming expectant. And when you come expectant, you will receive and you will get breakthrough. So, all right, guys, I'll just say goodbye. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This was the Rebuilt Podcast. Thank you so much. And stay tuned. Come to the retreat. If not, there'll be other things available that you can join in. Go to our website, rebuiltmovement.com. We've always got something happening. Otherwise, message us if you need help or there's something going on in your world and you need support. Don't be afraid to reach out to us. There's plenty of us that would be able to take care and help you and point you in the right direction. All right, that's it for us. See you next time. Bye.